Back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Digital Asset Sensei coming at you once again on my channel, Kong Tech Fu, here to give you that supreme alpha once again. We've got some major developments as always, but some are more important than others. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you around a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to go down and smash that karate kick, that like and subscribe button so that we can get some more uh, things going on here, ladies and gentlemen, because we are trying to fast track ourselves to 1,000 subscribers. So thanks to all of the subscribers that have been hanging out, all of my financial warriors. And if you are here to get generational wealth, you are in the right spot. So I'm just going to show you around a little bit today. And always remember that we have KRAKEN, we have MEXC, we have Caleb and Brown, crypto brokers. We have UPHOLD, ladies and gentlemen, which can serve as kind of a neo bank for you, where you can hold you can buy and sell crypto there. You can, add your own bank account, your credit cards or your debit cards to it. You can move money in and out. But if you choose to store money there, then you can store it in the form of USD or stable coins or cryptos or what have you, and they will not loan out your USD, unlike your bank, ladies and gentlemen. So it's self custody while also having a neobank structure, if you will. So my referral link for all of those things will be down in the description below, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, up here on the screen you see a website that I just recently found out as I continue to study. Because, Canton Network is indeed our number one project in our portfolio, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the CC view, and it's exploring the Canton Network. And basically, all of the validators that are securing the network, they are going to have to lock up 70% of the canton that they get as reward for supplying value to the network. Now, what does that mean for me and you? Well, what that means for me and you, ladies and gentlemen, is that they're going to need our CC tokens so that they can lock them up. So they of course, they're going to have to incentivize us with a staking APR, ladies and gentlemen. So our CC tokens are not only appreciating in value as we continue to move up in price appreciation, but we can also get a pretty decent sustainable yield depending on which validator we want to go with. And also, you guys may have forgotten, but recently I'm just going to show you around real quick. I decided to revisit GMX, ladies and gentlemen. GMX is an OG from way back in the day. It is still holding it down. It still has billions of dollars in total value locked. It's still providing different things for you. So you can see over here, I just kind of put a couple of dollars in here, ladies and gentlemen, because I've been basically pussyfooting around with GMX since like 2022, 2023, somewhere around in there. And I never really fully developed it. And I said, you know what, dang nabbit, I am going to go and I am going to fully blast out GMX. And I am not turning back this time. I am going to build by the next the next video I do on GMX, you guys are going to see considerable liquidity in here, guys, because GMX is all of that. And if you don't know GMX, you need to get to know GMX, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, I've got a GM ETH here. Now these are delta neutral positions, delta neutral on ETH and delta neutral on BTC. You know, BTC Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. And the thing is that delta neutral just means it doesn't matter if the token price goes up or down. I am still earning my APR, so it doesn't matter. Like my APR is 7.68%. Will go forth no matter what. My 5.8% will go forth no matter what, whether the price goes up or down, because it is a delta neutral strategy that is being done for me. And then, of course, I got VVV over here, the Venice AI token. And Venice AI is one of my favorite AI plays, ladies and gentlemen. Utilizing privacy so that you're not censored and you're not surveilled on what you put into your chats, so anything controversial or anything like that will not get you into any trouble, ladies and gentlemen. And also, it also generates APIs for you if you guys are doing AI and stuff like that, But we could talk about Venice at some other time. But, I have exposure over here with Venice. And then, of course, we have the GMX token itself for governance and this and that and the other. But we're not here to talk about GMX today, ladies and gentlemen. And all of our favorite projects, as you see. And as a matter of fact, if you want to talk about AI, we still have our AI Swarm AI agent over here, and we just renewed our license. And as you can see, what I did is I leased my agent back to the Swarm network itself. You see, I leased it right here. It says leased to Swarm at rollup_news. So I just went through one. I just finished one here, a 6-month lease, and I got a couple of hundred. I got about 280, almost $300, And now you see I got some more here. What I'm saying? I'm getting these truth tokens, if you will. And then once you get the truth tokens, if you choose to, you can go over here and you can go to the staking .swarmnet.io, and the season here has concluded, but they will start a new season very soon, ladies and gentlemen. Also, if we go over here, we have USD AI, the dollar that builds AI wherever it forms, ladies and gentlemen. And this is essentially using liquidity and or money, through the stable coin that they have. USD AI is a stable coin. They just got their new coin for governance, which is called CHIP, CHIP, which you can also stake, which gives you basically voter rights. But basically what they're doing is they're providing something that the banks will not provide or does not provide, and that's basically compute power in the form of GPUs, where you can actually go in and you know what? I'm actually going to let them explain it, because it's capital for builders outside of mega fund circle yield drawn from their machine banked credit, backed by the future verified reserves, decentralized underwriting, and things like that. And they help to scale companies globally. So if you were to launch the app or you were to go in here, it allows you to, this is the chip portal right here. And it's the utility and governance token of USD AI, coordinates and parameters, GPU backed loans. So it essentially becomes a lending and borrowing protocol and supplying on demand liquidity for people that have GPUs and just moving back and forth. So you're providing a service that banks do not provide, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, people are essentially, I guess you would say, tokenizing, the use of their GPU and the ability to produce compute power, ladies and gentlemen. So that's essentially what USD AI is doing. All right. So we're not here to talk about that either. I'm just showing you around. And then of course, we've got Hyperliquid, ladies and gentlemen. And if you go on to Hyperliquid, of course, you have to be in the right geographic location. I just recently received, my digital aspect of my RS. That's Caleb and Brown there. Let me see if I can find it for you here real quick, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to see. Let me just take a quick pause here and find this for you. Yeah, my RNS Palau ID. So if you look here, this is the Palau ID, and it basically gives you ID verification, and you could use this for all of your platforms. So let's say you wanted to use Gate.io or KuCoin, and you were in the wrong geographic location. There's a very good chance, very high chance that you can utilize your Palau ID or your digital ID in order to KYC for those different platforms and exchanges. So it opens up a whole new world to you in case you don't have a government that is friendly towards that platform. Okay. So I've done mine, and I am awaiting on the physical one. And very soon I will, but you don't have to wait on the physical one that you get in the mail. You can also they provide you a digital form of it so that you can start using it right away while you wait for the other one to come in the mail, ladies and gentlemen. But why are we here today? We are here today, ladies and gentlemen, because we are here to talk about uranium X U308. I told you guys about this before about being able to buy and sell uranium. And it was something that I've been doing for quite some time and just getting a little bit here and there. And I know it's a very legit project, and uranium is something that you really want to have in your portfolio. And not just uranium, but of course, other tokenized, metals, tokenized gold, tokenized silver, because it's all about tokenization. And that's why I started off this video about the Canton Network, ladies and gentlemen, because the Canton Network is spearheading most of the liquidity that's coming from traditional finance into the cryptoverse and or the Bitcoin verse. Because for those of you that don't know, Bitcoin is not crypto. Okay, I've heard that previously when I first got into crypto, and I didn't think it was a big deal, but it actually is a big deal because it separates things. But yeah, Bitcoin is not crypto. Anyway, Bitcoin, altcoins, what have you. But when it comes to tokenization, Canton Network is spearheading that. And of course, you guys know I love talking about Canton, and also just to quickly revisit Hyperliquid, ladies and gentlemen. Hyperliquid is doing another airdrop. So if you are keen on Hyperliquid, as you should be, because it is one of the most rock'em sock'em robot things in all of the digital asset space when you're dealing with tremendous on hand liquidity. And it also has a very vast ecosystem. As you can see, you got USD Hyperliquid's native stablecoin. You've got Swipe Hyperliquid Exchange. You've got Altura. You've got the Merkle. You've got Project X. You've got Kinetic. You've got Hyena, which is integrated partners with Hyperliquid and Ethena, and then you've got Base. You trade everything, spend everywhere. Based one. You've got the Felix protocol, which is another stable coin, thing before they even came out with Altura. You've got Hyperdrive, you got Hyperlend, you've got Hyperbeat, and you've got some other things that I didn't even put here, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, Hyperliquid has a very vast ecosystem. But if I were you, I would go in here and I would do a little earning. I put a little couple of stable coins in there. You can withdraw them immediately. You can do the vault, and as you can see down here on the vault, I've actually got a couple of dollars here in this orbit value strategy here. You could do Hyperliquid right here, but Hyperliquid APR is really down, so that's why I went with this one. And you could basically, this is copy trading. You give these guys here, the money, and they go in here and they do your thing for you. So you can see at this point in time, this guy is 94% APR, and he's been doing his thing for quite some time. All right, then you can go over here to staking. I've got 4 Hyperliquid staked right here right now, and the thing just continues to go on. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, so I haven't actually logged in with my ID. That's why we got this red thing across the screen here. But once again, that's not why we're here. I just want to show you guys around. But Hyperliquid is coming out with an airdrop. So if you want to get down with the airdrop, I suggest you go in here, you do some trading, and then you find something that's more likely to go up than down. That's Canton. I'll just give you a few suggestions here. Canton, of course, you can do a 20x on Brent oil. Gold, of course, is always more likely to go up than down. You know, um, let's see what else we got here. Hyperliquid itself is more likely to go up than down. XRP is more likely to go up than down. You got, a couple of things like that. So those are like safe bets. What I'm saying, where you can just go in here, you generate some traffic, you do a little staking, or a lot. What I'm saying, if you're like me, I plan to do a lot. And I also got something going on over here in VFAT, ladies and gentlemen. So if we look at the VFAT positions over here, I've got a little bit here, and I'm going to be adding at least another 1,500 to this like very soon. I just had to rework some things real quick, and I'm just coming back around the corner with this. But as you can see, my APR is 41% right now. It's usually much higher. And as a matter of fact, if we go to the pools and we look at the pool that I entered, let's just get rid of this very quickly. And if we look at the pool that I entered, then you can see that the APRs are actually much higher than this. So I'm going to have to go in and see why my APR is so low. I may even have to withdraw completely and go back in to reset the parameters. I don't know, but I'll check that out at another time. And my friend at UIG, he's got the DeFi Buddy. And what DeFi Buddy allows you to do, it allows you to come in here and it allows you to run simulations on your liquidity pools before you actually add liquidity, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, this is 47% over here, showing you that it's exceptional, that this is a wrapped ETH USDC right here. So that's a good one there, But no matter what you're doing, you can come in here, you can run simulations so that you know what to expect when supplying concentrated liquidity. Supplying liquidity is a very sophisticated art, ladies and gentlemen. You have version 1, version 2, version 3, and version 4. Let me just break that down for you very quickly. Version 1 of providing liquidity is simply known as staking. Okay, to us DeFi people, is we call it single-sided staking because it requires one token. You drop it in the tank it, and then you move along. You get your APR, you set it, you forget it. You come back in 6 months and say, "Oh, look, I got a couple of hundred or a couple of $1,000. Cool, 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 cool." All right, version 2 of providing liquidity, ladies and gentlemen, is what I like to call static liquidity providing. In other words, it's also a set it and forget it type thing because what you can do is, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't really have to monitor it because, you're not really ascribing to any real parameters because basically you're covering the entire spectrum. So there's nothing really to look at because you're covering everything from top to bottom. So there really is no floor and there really is no ceiling because you're covering the entire room of the graph. Okay. Version 3, of course, is concentrated liquidity. And that is, of course, when you actually do have a graph, ladies and gentlemen, where you're worried about either going through the floor or going through the ceiling. And at that point, you will no longer be earning liquidity. Okay. And then version 4, of course, is liquid staking derivatives. But I dare not say that word derivative because people short circuit when you say that word and everybody just does not compute. So we say liquid staking tokens so people don't short circuit and go crazy and I don't understand. It's just relax, man. It's liquid staking tokens. All of that means is that you stake your token, they give you a receipt token, and you can take that receipt token and you can move it elsewhere. That's all it means. Please don't freak out when you hear that word derivative. And as a matter of fact, we're not even going to say it. Anyway, let's go back to why we are here. We are here because we are here to talk about uranium, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about tokenization of metals. Now, I got a really great surprise today because when I came over here and looked, and I says, oh my, look at this. Uranium IO is evolving into metals IO. Commodities trading evolve. And indeed, they are evolving, ladies and gentlemen, because I was messing with this last week. And when I went to sign in, I saw I saw two options where I could sign into uranium IO or I could sign into metals IO. And I was like, what's really the difference here? But once I saw this at the top of the screen as you see it, I'm like, oh, now I understand. Because it's telling me that it's evolving into the metals.io, ladies and gentlemen. And basically, what that's going to essentially do is going to allow you to invest in more than just uranium, but it's going to allow you to invest in other metals. And we're going to take a quick look at it. But before we take a quick look at that, let's take a quick look at this, where it says borrow with your UXU308. That's your uranium. So now you can get near instant USDC stablecoin loans by depositing your uranium as collateral while staying invested in uranium's potential. So, in other words, let's say you've got $5,000 worth of uranium. Okay. All right, cool. Let's say you deposit $5,000 as collateral, and you simply take 2,500 so that you're over collateralized by 100%, or 200%, I should say. And you take that $2,500 and hopefully you don't go and spend it like a consumer. The idea is for you to, when you're doing lending and borrowing with your protocol, the idea is to take that $2,500 and double it, triple it, quadruple it. Let's say you take that 2,500 using your other multiple income streams, because you could pay, you're taking a loan from yourself, so you could pay yourself back whenever you like, whenever you want. There's no deadline, and you take it, you turn it into 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, whatever. Pay yourself back, thus releasing your original $5,000 worth of collateral, and you put the residual in your pocket, ladies and gentlemen. This is the power of lending and borrowing, which now uranium.io is now capable of. So if we go and we take a look over here on it actually takes effort for me not to say Twitter. I was just about to say Twitter. X, you know, yeah. Over here on X, formerly known as Twitter, you have the Metals.io page. If I were you, I would go over here and I would follow the Metals.io. It's a new way to invest in metals, buy, own, and trade gold, uranium, rare earth metals, and more in one place, powered by Tezos. You know what I'm saying? And Tezos is a blockchain, that is pretty much working. They're pretty much calling it Etherlink, you know, and when it's inside your wallet. So that's something you have to get used to. But if you use the Rabby wallet, that'll help you out with that. If you're using MetaMask, ladies and gentlemen, if you're using MetaMask, you're gonna have to add that yourself. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna switch my wallet, and you're going to have to add that mainnet yourself. And if you want to know how to do that, just write me a comment down in the description below. Say, hey man, can you make a video on how to install mainnets into my MetaMask? And I will certainly do so. But over here in Rabby, it is not really necessary, because over here in Rabby, they pretty much have all of the you know main whoop-de-doo blockchains already available to you. However, you do have the ability, if in case they didn't, you do have the ability to install mainnets into Rabby as well. But 99% of the time, it's already there. And another thing that I like about Rabby, which is why I imported my MetaMask wallet, well, MetaMask is just one of my many wallets, as you guys can plainly see, but I imported that so that I could use my wallet, sort of like a front door and a back door, what I'm saying? Like MetaMask is my front door, Rabby is my back door, or vice versa, So whatever I do in MetaMask resonates here, whatever I do here resonates there, And so what happens is, Rabby will actually intuitively see, depending on the website that you're on, what blockchain is appropriate, and it will automatically switch to that blockchain for you. And if it doesn't, no worries. You just go down here and you just do it manually. All right. So that's what that is, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so if we look here, you got metals.io, and I'm doing this on the laptop right now. The next video I do, I'm going to revisit this and I'm going to show you guys how to do the same thing on your phone, because the methodology is a lot different. But I suggest, if you guys, in case you don't see the next video with everything, I suggest that you take this URL here, which is metals.io. You take that and you go inside your wallet. And once you go inside your wallet, you will find the browser that is inside your wallet and click on that. And once you get to the browser in your wallet, paste the URL inside your wallet. So therefore, it is a direct connection. You know what I'm saying? Because if you try to do it separate, whereas you're using the Google or whatever that's on your phone, and then you try to connect your MetaMask or whatever to it, it's kind of a distant thing, and it's like it may work, it may not work. Okay, but if you go inside the browser section of your wallet, it will definitely work because you're already doing it in house, so to speak. Okay, so let's just go over here and this actually is the Explorer for Etherlink over here, where it's going to show you the token, which is uranium X U308, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if we click this, let's just go over here, and I'm going to show you guys over on CoinGecko. And if we go over to CoinGecko, and we click here into the search bar, and we simply paste that address, it comes up right here. And then once it comes up right here, we can clearly see, we can get some more info about uranium XU308, which is direct ownership of uranium itself. Now, of course, you can't have physical ownership of uranium because there is no need for you to have physical ownership of uranium, because you don't need it. Nobody needs physical. You might need physical ownership of gold and silver, for jewelry or whatever, and the storage, a store of value, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not a nuclear physicist, you have no reason to hold physical uranium in your hands. And of course, they're simply not going to allow you because there's a lot of crazy people on the earth and we don't want anybody to do anything that they shouldn't be doing. However, you go over here, you get some more information, and you go down here and you can look to see what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. So this is totally and completely, legit, 100% legit, ladies and gentlemen. And one thing you should know about uranium, it says here where you can buy it, the daily trading, what is the highest and lowest price, market cap, what is a fully diluted value, all of that jazz, right? But the main thing to know, just in a really down to earth way, ladies and gentlemen, is to simply understand that when the uranium mines are depleted, in order for them to curate or to prepare another uranium mine, it takes 15 years, ladies and gentlemen. So that means if the uranium mines were depleted in 2030, that means no more new uranium can be mined until 2045. So that means anybody that's holding uranium between 2030 and 2045, yeah, they're the man, because that is the only source from which it can be gotten from people that are already holding it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a quick look at metals.io. As a matter of fact, let's go directly to the website itself. First, the landing page. All right. Let's simply go to the landing page. And it's right here. So basically, the uranium.io is going to be phased out, okay, because it will no longer be necessary. And it will no longer be necessary because metals.io is the updated and expanded version of it. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You can sign up with your email or Gmail, or you could simply connect your wallet directly to it with no indirect KYC happening. Because if you sign up, with your email, of course, that's like an indirect KYC. You're not really KYCing, what I'm saying, but they like know who you are. And if you don't want anybody to know who you are, then you will simply connect your wallet and not reveal your identity of your email, because of course your email knows who you are. So you go down here and you can look at commodities trading evolve, and you can start investing, and all of this stuff and all of that jazz like that. All right. So if we launch the app, it'll actually look like this. All right. So now what I chose to do is I chose to use my email, but I also have metals.io. I have a repository of the tokens in another wallet. So therefore, I feed it back and forth between these two accounts, ladies and gentlemen, because I was in I am still in the original uranium.io. At some point, that will fade to black, and will solely be here. And as you can see, you've got uranium, you've got VNX gold, ladies and gentlemen. You've got strategic metals. And in the future, it's grayed out right here because it's upcoming, upcoming, upcoming. We got cobalt upcoming. We got silver upcoming. We got palladium upcoming. And we have nickel upcoming, ladies and gentlemen. So these are things that, aside from the uranium, which is probably the main attraction for most of us, you're also going to have the ability to do strategic, rare metals as well. You know, So that's pretty much where we are at with that, ladies and gentlemen. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show you at this specific point in time. So we're going to continue to do this thing. And like I said, continue to go down and make sure you smash that subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a win-win situation. I get a subscriber and you keep getting this supreme alpha of how to get this generational wealth so that you can not only become your own bank, but you can become your own hedge fund. You can become your own whatever. The sky's not even the limit because we have spaceships now, ladies and gentlemen. So let that, ladies and gentlemen, continue to stay on, continue to grind, continue to find an excuse to win, and continue to get this crypto.